Hi guys, and welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be doing a character file review, this time of the character Pearl Sibshaw, played by Juliette Kaplan. She was a really great character. She made her first appearance in Laughter the Summer Wine in 1985, and her last appearance in 2010, the episode titled How Not to Cry at Weddings, which is an interesting last episode of Laughter the Summer Wine, I give you. So yeah, I'm just going to be talking about the character, her as a character, and also her relationship with Howard and Marina, and stuff like that. Just get into her as a character, really. She's quite a stubborn character, a bit of an aggro character. If you've seen After Someone, you know that she's a very, authoritarian. I feel like she's a bit strict. She wants to, just keep Howard all to herself. She doesn't want him to go out of the house. She wants him to stay there, work, and you always see Howard, window cleaning, so on. So she tries to keep him, to not let him, go off with other people all the time. And I don't know why Pearl ever married Howard, because they clearly don't get along. So I don't know why the hell they're together. So it's just a bit interesting, really, why they were together throughout the series. But I do like how she does that thing where she creeps up on Howard and suddenly, she's there out of nowhere. And he's got those really funny segments where the trio try and sneak Howard out, and then suddenly Pearl is just right behind you, and they're all scared of Pearl. Particularly Foggy Dewhurst, he was quite scared of Pearl. And so was Norman Clegg. They were very scared of Pearl. But sometimes they managed to trick Pearl, particularly the trio. They would trick Pearl, and then Howard would end up being escaped, and he could do all of that, which I found was really interesting. I do feel like the characters were on the show for a very long time. Pearl was on the show for 25 years, which I think is very long for a Lost and Wine character. Despite the fact there are characters who've been there longer, but out of the characters, that's quite a long time to be on a show. So I think Juliette Kaplan did a really good job at playing that sort of manipulative, controlling person. And she also went to those coffee mornings in Lost the Summer Wine where she'd be with all the women, and she would sort of, moan about Howard, how he's, sort of useless and stuff like that. Basically, just saying that he's, she could do better. Basically, I don't know why these characters are married or why they've got anything to do with each other. It's nearly as weird as Wally Batty and Nora Batty. It's just completely different. So I don't understand why that happened in the show. But I think they were really great together because Howard and Pearl were like the complete opposite. Howard was this like, I want to go out and do stuff, but normally with Marina. So I don't know why he didn't just marry Marina. Beyond me, anyway. And then Pearl was sort of like, well, I want you to stay in and do work and stuff like that. I want you to, like, she was just massively a big bossy boots, basically, and just boss him around, make him do stuff that he didn't want to do, clearly. And he would always use that excuse, oh, I'm going to go out with the lads, even though he wasn't. He wanted to go out with Marina so he could, have his little affair. But the fact is, though, Pearl should have just said, well, go off with him, I'll find someone else, They could have done that, but I think it's more for comic effect that he always has these dafted plans to escape the house, and Pearl is always there to stop him, always, all the time, and I think that's really good. And she comes up with unique ways. She even makes him not have squeaks on his bike. Makes him have squeaks on his bike purposely, forcefully makes him do jobs. So I found that really interesting and cool as a character. I want to go into that sort of controlling side. I feel like that's really interesting to see how she's the tough one of the family. Howard is not, in any means, the tough character, and I think that Pearl is a really strong character, and that she manages to control him and just keep him away completely. So it shows Pearl as a character. She's a very strong woman. Obviously, she's not gonna she's not gonna take anyone for an idiot. Basically, she basically would control you just no matter what, to get her own way, so they keep them there, which I think is really interesting as well. She's also a very funny character because she does get her own back on Howard a lot of the time, which is always quite interesting. Or like the times where she just chains up his bike and just stops him from going to see Marina. And there's loads, countless other times when there's a window, like when Hal's trying to climb out the window. Pearl, I think that removes like the ladder, so he doesn't escape, and then he ends up falling. There's other times where he's fallen off a roof, and that's all caused by her because he's been found. He's tried to sneak out before. Like he tried to impress Tom, like pretend to be Tom, and then they actually confused Pearl, so she went over and had to go at Tom, thinking it was Howard because they dressed him up to look like him, and that was really funny. That was really really enjoyable to watch. She always gets her own way back a lot of the time. Howard never ends up being like getting to do what he wants to do, but there are a few times when he does. Particularly in the last series, series 31 or 32, depending on which source you read. She throws Howard out for the whole series. The whole of the last series of Last and Summer Wine, they're not together. They're completely separated, and Howard finds out that when he's with Marina, it's different to when he's with Pearl. He sort of misses Pearl, which I think is a bit shocking, really. And Pearl sort of misses him in his own way. She like chucks his suitcase at him. Oh, you can go home. You can go home. Oh yeah, you haven't got a home, sort of thing, which I find quite funny. I do enjoy that in the last series, how she has that thing where she's sort of like, well, I don't want you anymore because you're nothing to me, basically. And then in the last episode, they get back together, and that's nice. Because you can see how much she actually does like him, but she just appears to everyone else that she hates him, and I think that's just a really good thing to show. Sort of like it shows the layers of love, basically, that they may look like they hate each other from the outside and they don't like each other, but deep down, Pearl does love him in some way. I mean, not in a very strong way, but she does like him to an extent. So I think that's really interesting, a part of their relationship as well. Main things though, I do enjoy how the trio are even scared of her. Like Compo and Clegg, someone was a bit terrified by her. Foggy, Truly, everyone particularly is just a bit frightened. Seymour, everyone's just a bit wary. Hobbo in the last series, he's a bit terrified of her as well. So sort of like that controlling nature is really good. The thing is with Pearl, she always says to Howard, "Oh, why the hell do you want to take that up?" Or "Why the hell are you doing that?" And obviously, she sees right through Howard. She knows when he's going to sneak out. She knows exactly what move he's going to make, how he's going to walk down the staircase, how he's going to try and climb out the window, how he's going to walk past, and she always stops him. Well, most of the time. There are some episodes where he's got free range. There's also episodes where he tries to do like he's there in a coffee morning, and she's like, "Actually, go away," which is a bit unusual for Howard. For Pearl to say "go away" to Howard, which is interesting. But I do think those two characters together have something really funny and something really good to go. But Pearl, the way she controls that, the way she owns that, is all really good. And she's obviously a bit jealous, I would say, of Marina because she's obviously taking taking her husband. I feel like that's the reason why they don't get along. Because she always backstabs her at those coffee mornings and says, "Oh well, my husband was with stuff like that." So you can see why she's sort of a stubborn, angry character. But I think that's just really shows how amazing of a character that she is. That the way that they've written her in a way that makes her seem, from the outside, she seems like not a very nice person. She's too strict. She won't let him do anything. And then on the other side, you see she loves him so much that she wants to keep him there, despite not actually getting along that well. So there's two sides to every story, and I really see that with Pearl. Someone who looks from the outside, obviously someone who doesn't seem very nice, but on the inside probably has a heart, and she does care about Howard. So it's very interesting as they do reconnect in the last episode, and they sort of get together again. So it's a really really great character, I think. I just gotta say that Juliette Kaplan. I think she just captured a really great character there, and to hold that role for 25 years um, is just mental, really. And obviously to be in it from 1985 to 2010, like a massive chunk of time that's passed through that time. And there's several different characters that came and went during that time. Well, but she stayed on for such a long time. If you think about Smiler, he was only in it from like 1988 to 2007 or something, so he didn't even make it to the same length as Pearl, Howard, and Marina, who were in it from 1985 to 2010, which is mad to think. But when these characters were introduced, Last of Mine was already over 10 years old at that point, which is actually quite mental to think about, that in 1973 Last of Mine started, and then in like 1983 it was still going, and Howard, Pearl, and Marina weren't in the show yet. Seems pretty mental to me, because I think they're a huge part of Last of the Summer Wine and its sort of identity of, that's Howard. He's the one who always tries to escape in most of those episodes, and Pearl's always the stubborn one who always wants to keep him there. I feel like that's a core part of Last of the Summer Wine, and without that, the show might be slightly different. I do prefer some of the earlier series of Last of the Summer Wine though, but these towards after the 80s, Last of the Summer Wine felt very similar throughout until the end, really. But I think Pearl's character was really good, and I really enjoyed her character. I'd just like to say thank you guys for listening to my character file review of Pearl Sibshaw. That's actually her surname. It's only mentioned in one episode, though, I believe. But yeah, I just want to say thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in a video soon, anytime soon. I really appreciate it, guys. It was my anniversary the other day, celebrating 5 years. I can't believe 5 years on YouTube. It's mad. Time just does fly. 2021, I was obviously a lot younger than I am now. 5 years younger. And now, here I am, 5 years older. Literally a grown adult now. It's just mental, isn't it? Time really does fly. And thank you guys for everyone who's watched my videos over the years. And just a real big appreciation for you guys. Thank you for getting us to over 300 subscribers now, and hopefully we get to 400 at some point. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and see ya. Bye.